Hello and welcome to another episode of the Intersect Project Podcast, the only podcast dedicated to the rewatching of all 5 seasons of Chuck for you Chuckaholics out there. And I'm not 100% sure if that last part was correct. I assume it probably is because who else would be crazy enough to make a podcast for 91 episodes? Me, evidently, me. But here I am. We're chugging along. We're on season 2. We've reached Chuck versus the Suburbs. A strong episode, not only in main storylines but side storylines. So it's a lot of fun. First off, I'd like to promote a new thing for all you listeners out there. It's called the Chuck Project. It's a new social media type site for just Chuck fans. It's basically it's what you usually do on Twitter, except it's a space specifically for Chuck. So it's like your tweeters and your Facebooks, but it's all in one website and it's nonstop Chuck. So if you really want to join, go. I think it's chuckproject.socialgo.com. I think. I'll tweet out the URL later today, or I guess on the 24th. I'll tweet it out so you guys know where it is. Also, we are having a fundraiser trying to raise money to keep the website afloat, because websites like that aren't free, and we want to keep it up because we've had a good first response already. We've had a really good first response. So we're trying to keep that up, but like I said, that costs money. So we have an Indiegogo. We're just asking for like $700 to run the website year round. People seem to be enjoying the website already, so if you have some spare change, go donate. Help us keep the website alive. All right. Thanks for listening. Let's just dive right into the episode. So first off, we like to start with the two established segments. Hit of the episode, song of the episode, and we are going to let's do hit of the episode first. Good. Not a lot of hitting in this episode. Actually, there's literally one hit, and everything else is like tasers. So one hit. And the winner this week of hit of the episode goes to Sarah for When She Slapped Chuck. It was funny. I enjoyed it. It was hilarious. He deserved it. His character deserved it for cheating somewhat. Cheating in a super weird way. Super weird way. But he did. So he's got to deal with it. So congratulations, Yvonne Strahovski, on your character Sarah winning Chuck vs. the Suburbs hit of the episode. For you experienced listeners of the podcast, you know exactly what's coming next. The hit of the episode scoreboard check. If you're keeping track at home, you know what it is. If you don't, if you're new to the podcast or you don't keep track at home, I'm about to read it for you. And for season 2 so far, we have Sarah Walker still running away with it, and at this point I'm pretty sure she's got it won. I don't think there's enough episodes. There might be, but at this point I'm pretty sure Sarah's going to win this season. So future congrats on that. But we have Sarah Walker running away with it with 10 wins. We have Chuck at 1, Big Mike at 1, and Casey at 1. So congratulations, everybody. You well fought. I'll say that. Now we will move on to the song of the episode, and there's really only one choice for song of the episode, and it's a good song. It's a really good song, actually. I think it's by the Talking Heads. It's called Once in a Lifetime. It's catchy. It's fun. It's at a good point in the show. It's just Chuck driving up to meet his future wife in the suburbs, his future pretend wife in the suburbs, by future I mean like 2 seconds into the future when he walks inside and he's now married to Sarah. Married in quotation marks. So, I mean, it's catchy. It's a good tune. Perfect placement. Congratulations, Talking Heads. You have won Chuck versus the Suburbs Song of the Episode. So, congratulations to all this week's winners. Next week, we'll see who takes home the prizes. It'll obviously, it may be different. Hit of the episode, who knows? Could just be Sarah, one episode after the other. I mean, she kicks ass. I mean, you can't really say much else. I mean, she deserves her wins. She kicks ass. Kicks ass, takes names. So let's just let's delve right into the episode. Let's get it going. All right, let's dive into this episode. So as we open this episode, it is Valentine's Day in Burbank, which is funny because we're only 2 weeks past Valentine's Day, so we're getting close to lining these shows up. We'll get it. We'll get this timing correct. Maybe. Not promising anything. So, we get Sarah and Chuck meeting each other, talking about what they're going to do for Valentine's Day. You know, they should probably do something. They've been dating for a year, cover dating at least, so, I mean, kind of feels like you should do something, even though they initially decide not to do something. But Morgan ropes them in. They go, "Yep, we got spicy Valentine's Day plans. Spicy." So that they're now forced to do something on Valentine's Day. Seems so horrible, right? Really terrible. Just horrible things. So we see Big Mike coming over, talking to angry Chuck and Morgan. Seems no reason really. He just seems not himself, and he does not seem himself at all. Really, I mean, it's quite out of character. Turns out the lady Big Mike is no more. She is divorcing him, leaving him, and that is a sad day for Big Mike. Makes him sad. So to keep himself from being sad, he's got to put on this rough and tough exterior that no one really wants to see because it's scary and people want to do zero work. So Emmett, Morgan, Lester, and Jeff all decide, hey, let's help Big Mike out. We don't like doing work, and Emmett doesn't like this new Big Mike because this new Big Mike might mean he can't suck up very well. So they decide, hey, let's try and get him a woman. So they do what any other person does nowadays when after divorce. Not really. I mean, not everybody does this, but it's the new thing. They give Big Mike an online dating profile. Big Mike and the online dating girl. And so they set up his profile. Obviously they lie because people on the internet like to lie. Except me. I won't lie to you. Especially about Chuck, because somebody will probably call me out on it. So I'm not going to lie about Chuck. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. So they decide to set him up on a date online. They get him one, and he goes out. But he's lying to her, you know. She thinks he's a shipping magnate, and he's dressed like an admiral in the Navy. It's weird. I don't know. I don't like it. But he ends up having a wonderful evening with his new lover, if you catch my drift. And he asks her to meet him at the Bymore so he can explain that he is not the shipping magnate that she thought he was. And guess what? She lied on her profile too. She has a son. And guess who that son is? You're damn right it's Morgan. You're damn right it's Morgan. And it's creepy for Morgan because he has to watch Big Mike make out with his mom. And that's not even the creepiest part. The creepiest part is Morgan set him up with her. That's the creepiest part for Morgan. He set up Big Mike with his mom, not knowing it was his mom. Just an unfortunate coincidence, Morgan. Unfortunate. Well, your mom is now dating your boss. So, Morgan, get ready for awkwardness. Just pure awkwardness. Alright. That does it for the Buy-More circuit. Buy-More circuit was kind of short. Emmett, Jeff, Lester, and Morgan work together like they've done in the past, just once. Sometimes they team up to take care of things. Sometimes. This is just one of the cases. And so they're going to do something else. So, not something else. They're going to take him down. They're going to take down Big Mike Sadness. And they did. They succeeded. They worked together. Now they're going their separate ways to become nemeses again. So, like I said, that does it for the Buy-More. Really short, sweet to the point. Big Mike loses his wife, gains a new girlfriend. Morgan loses his mom to his boss. Short, sweet, to the point. So, let's dive into Chara and Team Bartowski. We'll put them together because this episode is basically just a he's just kind of a random it's not random. It's obviously, it's Valentine's Day, so work and personal lives get intermingled, obviously. So we're going to talk about both at the same time. So Chuck and Sarah start out this spicy date. Chuck's playing games on his phone. Sarah's just looking at Twitter, I guess. Maybe Sarah Walker has a Twitter account. That'd be kind of funny, actually. So they're staring at their phones. They're just eating pizza. They don't look like they're having fun, which is weird because I guess knowing what we know, since we're omnipresent viewers, knowing what we know about them, you'd think they would, at least talk or something. But I can also understand that they are so confused by how they feel and how they've approached the subject of how they feel about each other that they would not discuss it at all because it's weird and they don't want to. But like I said a couple podcasts before, communication is key. People, communication is key. But this is where mission comes in. A CIA agent has disappeared for a year, supposedly undercover, and he has just now resurfaced on the radar somehow. And he has been taken. It looks like he's been taken by Fulcrum. So they need someone to re-up his work, get back into it, and try and figure out what the heck he was doing. What the hell was he doing? So, guess what? Casey and Chuck or not Casey and Chuck. Casey is telling Chuck and Sarah they're going to get married and move to the suburbs for this mission. So he just took a very awkward Valentine's date and made it even more awkward by saying, hey, you guys are going to pretend to be married for a while. Now, to pass this off to Ellie, obviously, Chuck just says, well, we're just house sitting. No big deal. But to Ellie, this is a big deal because it's a dry run. And by dry run, she means, well, if you guys want to see if your relationship is ready for the next step, like moving in together, getting married, stuff like that, this is something that will help that. It'll help you figure out what you want. It'll help you figure out what you need. So she's all happy. And Chuck's trying to play it off, but he's thinking also to himself, maybe. And I know he's thinking maybe to himself because of how he reacts when he actually approaches the suburb. It all kind of dawns on me. He's like, yeah, you know what? I think so. So, Chuck drives up on the Suburbs. Once in a Lifetime by Talking Heads is playing. We're all jamming out, enjoying the Suburbs. By the way, I don't have anything against the Suburbs, but I just don't see myself living in suburbs. Suburb life is kind of boring. No offense. If anybody here listens to the Suburbs, and I'm sure there's obviously exceptions to boringness in the suburbs. So I'm assuming anybody who listens to this podcast lives in the suburbs probably enjoys their life. I'm saying for me, I probably wouldn't enjoy the suburbs. But here they are. They're now married, and they're hosting a little get together for all the neighbors. And we have a couple star-studded celeb appearances in this episode. We get the always fabulous Andy Richter, and this podcast might have a little cursing in it. I'm sorry about that, but Andy Richter is just a funny fucker, okay? That guy is just absolutely hysterical. And I really enjoy that he is one of the Fulcrum members in the cul-de-sac. I find that really funny. So they're mingling with all the neighbors, and that's when Chuck meets the seductive temptress, the Jenny McCarthy. Gross. I won't go into detail on why I do not like her. I'm not here to stir up controversy at the Intersect Project podcast. I'm here to just talk about Chuck, but I will say that I'm not a big fan of Jenny McCarthy. Now, she is trying to tempt Chuck into sleeping with her, but really, she's just trying to test him. But she thinks she can get him over there. So, the party's over, and the next morning, Sarah just seems like she's really getting into the mission. You're like, awesome, this is happening. She is enjoying her time with Chuck as a married couple, and they seem to be enjoying each other's company. They act like they really like each other. You're thinking to yourself, maybe this is going to go somewhere. Maybe they're finally going to get together. Well, he goes off to work, obviously. They're passing notes, and that's when Chuck finds out. Guess what? The cougar, not the cougar, but the siren across the street's husband works for Fulcrum. So now he has to actually break his fake wedding vows. He has to cheat on Sarah so he can figure out what the heck is going on in the Fulcrum house. I mean, he's got to figure it out. So he arrives just on time, although he's not really happy about it because, I mean, even in this fake marriage, Chuck is a committed guy. He's not someone who would do something like this. So he finally gets to the door. She's like, "You got over here fast." And Chuck says the line of the season, line of maybe the show. Just freaking brilliant. It's just funny as hell. And it's Charles Carmichael always comes quickly. And there's a giant awkward pause where everybody in the world is just losing their shit laughing because that is funny. If you don't understand it, I'm not gonna push it, but if you understand it, you know why everybody in the world should laugh at that. And everybody notices. So that awkwardness passes, and next thing you know, Chuck is handcuffed to a bed. I don't know if he likes it. Doesn't seem to be liking it. So he gets out, finds the computer, tries to figure out what old Fulcrum's up to. And that's when he goes through the test, the Intersect test. He basically gets another small section of an Intersect just to see if he can handle it. Well, he's Chuck, so we know he can handle it. He is the Intersect badass. So he escapes out the door, but guess what? He's captured. Along with, well, okay, he's not captured then. Sorry. So some entered my mind I was thinking about and it escaped, and I lost my train of thought for a second. So he runs out. He approaches Sarah. Sarah slaps him. Hit of the episode, obviously. And so he's getting a divorce from Sarah now. And he is back at the Bymore and he figures out, guess what? Meadow Branch is an entire Fulcrum facility. Everybody there is Fulcrum. So Casey and Sarah get kidnapped, and he tries to get to him in time, but he gets kidnapped. So now everybody at Fulcrum is putting him through another Intersect. So, and Now they're all sitting in that underground bunker, and I want to take a second because I have this real big question. It it seems like Fulcrum and CIA's differences aren't huge enough to where they should be killing each other. I guess power goes to people's heads and they think they need power, so then they kill people for it and stuff like that. I guess I get that. But I don't understand why they're literally killing each other just because one thinks they should use Intersect to fight terrorism and one doesn't. And I don't know if that's the only difference. I may have missed something in all the rewatches. I mean, if anybody else knows, let me know. Send me a tweet at Chuck Rewatch 33, capital C at the beginning of Chuck. If anybody else knows why, but it seems like, I mean, they mention it in this episode. It seems like that's their only difference. Why are they killing each other? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, I know TV is supposed to be drama, but that's just unnecessary drama. That's a drama of people dying for a. It's this. I guess it's the same as two children in a sandbox, and one has to leave the sandbox because one grain of sand in the corner of the sandbox is not something he likes, but it's what the other kid likes. It's just they're fighting over a Tonka truck when there's 4 Tonka trucks in the middle of the sandbox. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. I don't get it. I feel like they should have explained it better. Now, they might in future episodes that I'm just forgetting. Remember, I'm watching them 1 week at a time, so I may have forgotten some stuff. But as of right now, it just doesn't make much sense to me. But anyway, so Casey's all handcuffed up in a different location. Chuck's being put through the new Fulcrum Intersect, and Sarah has to watch. So Casey escapes by breaking his thumb, like he taught Chuck earlier. Some torsional pressure, broke it, slips out of the handcuffs. He's fighting the bad guy. He's escaping from the bad guys. So now Sarah is up next in the Fulcrum Intersect test, and they plan on killing her by showing her the Intersect. All those pictures uploading your brain melts it. It stops working. It shuts off, and you die. So that's what their plan is, and that's when Casey sneaks in as they're strapping her into the chair. He turns on the Intersect. Chuck shuts her eyes. He shuts his eyes. Every one of the Fulcrum agents dies. Well, not all of them die, but few of them die. Some of them are then arrested because they are passed out from all the pictures and stuff. Just another case of ingenuity from Chuck, which I really enjoy. There's a lot of ingenuity in there, and it makes you think it's like a MacGyver but cooler. I shouldn't say that. MacGyver was pretty cool, but they're separate shows. But I mean, there's a lot of shared ingenuity in those two shows, so I like that. So they escape, and Chuck goes back to talk to Sarah after the debriefing, and he's like, "Hey, let's go. We have one more night in the suburbs. Let's do it." And Sarah's like, "We can't do that. Can't do it, Chuck. We cannot get close." She's basically saying, "Hey, we can't get close." Now, Chuck goes home, explains to Ellie, he's like, "Yeah, I mean, I figured out that I don't think me and Sarah have a future together necessarily, but I'm happy with where we are." Now, here's my opinion on what's going down right now. Basically, again, Sarah is trying not to get too close to Chuck because she has been trained by the CIA to think that he is an asset. He is not something she should fall in love with. The CIA is a pretty powerful organization, as we've learned. They do not want her falling in love with Chuck because that could compromise the mission, and if the mission gets compromised, bad people could get a hold of the Intersect. So obviously, her thoughts are warranted. She does not want to fall for Chuck and screw up the entire world, basically. I mean, I don't know how she would screw up the entire world, but she's been convinced, and evidently everybody else has been convinced that, hey, if she falls in love with Chuck and something happens, the whole world could end. So, obviously, that's a big problem for her. Even though she does love him, if she gets too close and something happens because of that, everything would be her fault. So, obviously, she has a huge dilemma, and I think some people overlook that. Now, for Chuck, he doesn't. He just doesn't think she feels the same way about him that he does about her, because I guess he's not good at picking up context clues like any other guy in the world. So he's just trying to figure things out. I mean, he doesn't know. He doesn't pick up on the clues, and he does not think she feels the same way that he does. So obviously, they're at the same point, just different wavelengths. They both love each other, but neither has. Well, I guess Chuck has kind of expressed that, but Sarah can't express it back for good reason, I guess. I mean, obviously we want her to just say it, but I mean, there's obviously good reason why she hasn't. So, I mean, what are you gonna do? Well, that wraps it up for this week. I'm sorry I got the episode out a little late. I got really lazy this weekend. I started off sick. Just a lot of laziness involved in this one, I'll admit. But here I am. I got the podcast recorded. I've got it uploaded. You're listening to it right now. Thank you for listening. Like I said earlier, go check out the Chuck Project, new social media site. You can find it. Like I said, I'm gonna tweet out the URL or go to at Chuckaholics or at Chuck Addiction or one of those two will have the website. There should be a good way to find it. If you have some spare change and you don't mind spending a little bit of it on us, go donate to help keep the website running all year long. We would really appreciate that. And just keep listening to the podcast. I enjoy doing this. I hope you enjoy listening. So there you have it. Let's all go celebrate. Let's all go party on. Subscribe to the podcast if you will. Review it on iTunes. That would really help. And maybe with reviews I can move up on iTunes. Maybe get some sponsors of the podcast so I can do some cooler things. Maybe do some T-shirts or stuff like that. I've got a couple T-shirt designs I want to do, but I don't really have the money myself, and I don't really want to ask everybody here to pay for it, because I mean I'm already asking you to help assist in the website, so I don't really want to do like a crowdfunded thing. But I mean, if we just keep getting the podcast more and more views, maybe we can get a couple sponsors. Maybe they'll pay for some T-shirts. That'd be cool. Like I said, I got some cool ideas for T-shirts. So thanks once again for listening. Signing off. I'm Paul. Remember, everybody loves Chuck. Some people just don't know it yet.